Palestinian home, where the children were born, and when the company was enough, she always put her down. All it was fairly and Sicily Union, on Sicily Union, on Sicily Union. All it was fairly and Sicily Union, on Sicily Union. The day I died, this union made my eyes, and the kids of the company's wives. She never had full white companies, but she always organized guys. She always walked away, if you struck for higher pay. She told her how to the company guy, and this is what she said. Oh, you can't stand me, I'm Sicily Union, oh, I'm Sicily Union, oh, I'm Sicily Union. Oh, you can't stand me, I'm Sicily Union, oh, I'm Sicily Union. Till the day I die, the woman's love is hard, when you live by union law. She's not to stay alone, and not to stay alone. It's time to take a stand, in working hand in hand. It's so long and lonely, down and only one. All you can't stare me, I'm Sicily Union, oh, I'm Sicily Union, oh, I'm Sicily Union. All you can't stare me, I'm Sicily Union, oh, I'm Sicily Union. The day I die, the day I die.
Palestinian poet Mahmoud Darwish. The song is I Have a Million Nightingales. And for those of you who might not know this, the nightingale is a bird that cannot sing in captivity. We sing this song today for the people of Palestine. Thank you.
Free
day. Probably doesn't need a lot of introduction to a few of you, but we really like people to sing along with us on this. And most of you should have flyers with words and some information about the choir on the back, so you know where to find us. Please join us in singing Red Roses. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our Sydney Trade Union Choir. Woo! Always lovely to have you, and what beautiful songs, and they really meant a lot for us on International Women's Day, so thank you. And thank you, Danny, for your support on International Women's Day Committee, always. Now we're going to march, and if I can just get an indication from the police, are we going out that way? Out that way, okay, great. So if we can all start lining up over here, and I'll bring the banner down if people want to take all of their banners over and get ready for the march. We'll be going around the block and coming back to Town Hall. So if you need to leave anything here, just let me know, but we'll make our way over here to start the march. Thanks everyone.
is Saturday the 9th of March 2024, and it's International Women's Day. Apparently my friend was saying that last year there was a very small crowd, so this year they've sort of enlisted in the unions to come. Plus you've got a lot of Palestinian sort of stuff as well, and yeah, so let's have a look around. And you've got a group here. I spoke to a gentleman over here. They've got a group who are wanting the Japanese government to acknowledge the comfort women who are the, if everyone knows the story, I'm sure they do, which they apparently he's saying they won't do. So that's part of their group. And then you've got all the unions, AMWU, the health unions, teachers union. They've got the Communist Party at the back there, equal pay, diversity, equity, choice, whatever that is, Labour Party. So it's all very, it's a very left sort of leaning group. And there's, yeah, I can understand what they mean that now, that if the unionists hadn't turned up, there would be a very small contingent of people here at all. Yeah, so wait, they're apparently going to march from here to Hyde Park, and that was apparently they were going to do the speeches over there, but then this all seems to be set up here for speeches, so we're not really sure what's going to happen. But yeah, that's it. And then of course there's heaps of cops up the front there near the trams, but a very small group. Yeah, and then the police up there, and that's it. Can only imagine what that would have said. It's been blocked out, but yeah.
Speaking to you after.
Are you wearing a Labour hat?
My great pleasure to permission from my elders to offer you welcome for the Sydney International Women's Day March to celebrate International Women's Day 2024 with this year's theme, Inspiring Inclusion. It gives me pride to represent my community in this important cultural protocol. It shows respect for and recognition to the unique position of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in Australian culture and history. We are gathered on the traditional land of the Gadigal, who are one of the 29 clans of the Eora Nation, which is bordered by the Hawkesbury, the Georges and the Korean rivers. I'm an Aboriginal woman who proudly identifies with the Aboriginal nation from Central West New South Wales. I was born on the Gadigal land and I've had the privilege to live, work and raise my 4 children on this land for most of my life. My family has grown and I'm now a proud grandmother to Aaliyah, Elijah, Kalani,
Oh, sorry. You're right, my fault.
4 of my grandchildren are female, and I hope that they enjoy the same opportunities as my grandparents. I count myself very fortunate that I was raised with many strong, smart Aboriginal women in my life. My 2 grandmothers, Muriel and Louisa, my mother Kathleen, my many aunties down in Norway, who's one of them in the crowd there somewhere. My daughter, my cousins and my nieces. They have each taught me different lessons, but the main one is that love for family is the most important. They taught us to be proud of our Aboriginal identity and to stand up for our community. I acknowledge the Gadigal, their spirits and ancestors who will always remain with the land Mother Earth, and I thank them for their ongoing custodianship. I pay my respects to our elders both past and present, and we must never forget the sacrifices made by our leaders, especially women, to create a better future for Aboriginal people. I do this as a reminder and as a tribute to elders and those who have gone before us to fight for land rights, justice and equity for our communities. I extend my respects to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people from all clans and nations who are present this morning. I also recognise our non-Aboriginal sisters and brothers from all backgrounds who walk beside us to unite our hands and hearts to women around the world on this special day. And I offer you a warm and sincere welcome to the land of the Gadigal of the Eora Nation. Wish you a safe stay on the land and safe travel from the land. On behalf of my community and the Gadigal, I wish you all a fantastic day to celebrate International Women's Day 2024.
It's a once a year chance to remind governments, business and everyone else watching that women aren't going anywhere and we're prepared to take action to achieve our human rights. On International Women's Day, we remember that as long as one woman faces discrimination, harassment, inequality or oppression, we all do. We all want to live in a world where difference is valued and celebrated. Collectively, we can all inspire inclusion. In closing, we remember that this is, was, and always will be Aboriginal land. Thanks everyone. Happy International Women's Day.
Thank you so much, Donna, and as always, coming along to do our welcome to country for Sydney International Women's Day. And thanks all for turning up. We are on a bit of a tight time frame to get the march started because the police are going to move in on me soon. So hopefully I don't get arrested today. That'll be good. So we're going to kick off with a couple of tunes from our wonderful choir. Who come along today to celebrate International Women's Day with us and sing us a couple of tunes, and hopefully as we do that we'll gather some more people around. So let's go. Thank you.
Marching, 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 we're marching in the streets, hurrah, hurrah. Everyone in feet, hurrah, hurrah. It's enough to win and shot, it's time to stand and run to the other end. Go marching, onto the streets of the world. Marching, 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 marching. Marching in the streets, hurrah, hurrah. In the sun of a million feet, hurrah, hurrah. Oh, break the dawn, all is time to break the wall, it's time to roll. Go marching, marching the streets of the world. Marching, 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 marching. The women are marching in the streets, hurrah, hurrah. Men joining and march to the beat, hurrah, hurrah. Stop the abuse by those who tell we won't change, but now is the hour we go marching, out to the streets of the world. Marching, 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 marching. The people are marching in the streets, hurrah, hurrah. Till we sing to the heaven, hurrah, hurrah. Human rights for all we say, it's too much without going away. We go marching out to the streets of the world. Human rights for all we say, it's too much without going away. And we all go marching out to the streets of the world.
The cross, my darling. The cross saves me from that place. We love you, we love you. We don't want you to perish. We want you to be saved, young lady.
What happened, brother?
We love you, you're precious. We don't want you to perish.
I'm not quite sure whether the lady with the women union strong was having to go with the Christian guy for some reason or another, or vice versa, one way or the other.
What do we want? Equal rights. Wait, here we go.
also hall-trained lawyers who continuously support us and support women throughout the year. So thank you to all of our sponsors for coming along today. So we're going to kick off our speaking list today with Raven, who is a fantastic young electrician and is rank and file with the Electrical Trades Union. And she's going to speak to us today about the climate change, how that affects our skill shortage, and why women matter in trade. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Raven. Please make her welcome. Thank you.
Comrades, happy International Women's Day. I stand before you as a qualified electrician, working in a space where women make up 2% of the total workforce. Despite facing numerous odds before getting my apprenticeship, my own family didn't support me and questioned my choice of becoming an electrician, suggesting that I should work in a retail shop because that is where women belong. I am here to prove them wrong, to show them that women like me can thrive in this field. I know this can be a supportive and prosperous place for a more diverse portion of our population. When I applied for my numerous applications for an apprenticeship, I was told by the more traditional workforce that the job required working evenings and weekends and that it wouldn't suit a growing family. You tell a nurse that. It was through a women's only free apprenticeship program that gave me the confidence and the foothold to get my apprenticeship. As a female electrician in a blue-collar industry, I speak not just for myself, but for all women who work in this field. The challenges we face are immense. From a lack of proper facilities like gender-specific amenities and personal protective equipment that fits us poorly, to enduring sexual harassment and discrimination as a minority in this very male-dominated space. These obstacles make it all the more important to advocate for gender equality and proper support for women in blue-collar industries. Despite these daily challenges that I face, the personal growth and financial independence that come with my job motivate me to encourage more women to do what I take pride in doing every single day. I am pushed beyond my comfort zone to perform tasks that test my limits and encourage me to become a better version of myself. Now is the time for women to take their place in the renewable energy sector. The federal government has set ambitious targets to achieve 100% renewable by electrifying this nation. To accomplish this, we need to install over 10,000 kilometers of new transmission lines, generate 9 times more electricity from large-scale renewables, and install 5 times the number of distributed solar panels, all while upgrading houses to complete electric. However, to achieve this target, we need more electricians. Specifically, we require 32 more electricians by 2030, meaning we've got to enroll an additional 55,000 apprentices by 2027. Without a diversified workforce that reflects the population of Australia, we won't achieve this transition. Therefore, it is crucial that we broaden this workforce with more women. Workplace culture is the main reason why women leave their apprenticeship. Our members have reported experiencing both comfort and safety issues due to a systematic failure to provide uniforms and PPE that fit a woman's body. The New South Wales branch of the ACTU has had success with their Nowhere to Go campaign, raising awareness about the lack of gender or any available amenities for women working in the electrical space. This campaign has led to legislative changes in South Australia. Women-only pre-apprenticeship programs have shown promise in attracting more women and boosting their completion rates. But these are few and very far between. The transition to renewables isn't just a skills shortage or about making the planet a healthier place for the future. It's also about a change in how we see traditional roles played. It's about a more inclusive work culture. It's about parental leave. It's about being paid because you have a trade and you're equivalent to the men that you work with. Becoming a Sparky makes a woman a trailblazer for other women, a role model for the future of women challenging what work looks like. Jobs don't have genders. When you leave here today and you're speaking to women in your life, don't discourage them from joining the workforce that is going to install the infrastructure that will bring Australia into the future. We need to make this planet sustainable for our children and their children. I stand before you, imploring you to encourage women into a space where they deserve to be. I became a Sparky because it's the final frontier for women like me. And I look forward to the day when no one is surprised when I tell them I'm an electrician. Thank you.
Important for us to make sure that women are in trades, and I spent 18 years of my life working for the manufacturing union and know how important it is for women to play a role in workplaces and in their union. So thank you, Raven, for sharing that with us, and we'll work with you to try and bring more women. I think we said 32,000 by 2030, if I got that right. So now we're going to introduce our international speaker, who is Kate Lee, who we all should know from Union Aid Abroad-APHEDA, which is our charity arm and also does magnificent work across the world in supporting workers. So I look forward to hearing from Kate, and I know there are so many global issues going on at the moment. We'd love to have a platform for every single one of them, but we have asked Kate to cover off on it. So thank you, Kate.
Thanks, Vanessa, and hello, sisters and comrades. Happy International Working Women's Day to you all and us all. Woo! I want to start by acknowledging that we meet on Aboriginal land here today, on the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. Sovereignty was never ceded, and as feminists, we continue to stand with and work with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders until justice is delivered. My name is Kate, and as Vanessa said, I work with Union Aid Abroad, the global justice organisation of the Australian Union Movement, founded in 1984 by the Australian Council of Trade Unions. Union Aid Abroad works with unions and community organisations around the world in support of social justice movements for equality and non-discrimination for all. But today I want to talk about women and the suffering they face at the front line of war. Because it's women and children who suffer the most under the decisions that are made primarily by men to go to war and continue war, which kills and maims millions of people every year in every continent around the world. Rape is used as a weapon of war, make no mistake about that. Sex slavery and trafficking is a consequence of war. Right now, women are being killed in Ukraine, in Sudan, in Yemen, in Gaza, just to name a few locations. Our IWD is not IWD if it does not speak to these atrocities. Our organisation has been working with Palestinians living in exile since 1984 and in the West Bank and Gaza since 1989, supporting the poorest families in occupied Palestine. And so we've witnessed and stood alongside of Palestinians who have been brutalised in the ongoing war over land and the fight over land between Israel and Palestine. In many wars, too many wars, but none more horrific than the current one, which has been taking place since October 7th. As documented by UN Women this week and reported this week, when Hamas undertook its attack on October 7th, over 1,200 people were killed in Israel, and UN Women now says that there is clear and convincing evidence that women were raped or gang raped during that attack by Hamas. But throughout the ongoing war since then in Gaza, over 30,000 people have been killed by the bombs, and it's estimated that over 70% of those are women and children. We now know that at least 15,000 people are buried under the rubble, and over 70,000 people have been injured or maimed by those bombs. Now, it's extraordinary to think about this in a war like what's happening in Gaza, but 180 babies will be born in Gaza today. Think about that. 180 babies will be born in the Gaza Strip today. There are over 50,000 pregnant women in Gaza, and it's estimated that 15% will likely experience complications during their pregnancy or birth. 2 million people have been displaced since the war began, and over 1 million are women and girls. As you know from the news this week, the population of Gaza is on the brink of famine because the state of Israel has blocked and continues to block aid and full humanitarian access to Gaza. Women right now are having to watch their babies be killed or starved to death. This is the harsh reality, and we have to face this. Breastfeeding women are unable to give their children nutrients to live. We know that women who serve as carers for their communities were the ones that stayed behind in northern Gaza when Israel directed people from the north to move south to Rafah. And they stayed to care for elderly people and people with disabilities who simply could not move and leave. So these women, unable to escape the conflict, were the first to die. We know that in crisis situations, during this time. We know that in times of conflict, heightened conflict, violence against women increases. But despite all this, we know that women in humanitarian and human rights organisations, together with women-led organisations, continue to operate and deliver food, emergency assistance, medicine, clothes, shelter, and also dignity packs for women and children, and provide psychological support. These organisations continue to do everything they can in Gaza right now. So our organisation works with a secular national organisation, a Palestinian NGO called the Man Development Centre. They have 220 staff in Gaza, responding full-time to the war, working with other organisations and trying to deliver assistance. Now, all of those 220 workers have lost one or more family members. Can you imagine that? As a worker ourselves, every single one of you and your colleagues has lost at least one family member, and it's been reported to us that some have lost 30 family members. All of these 220 workers have been displaced from their usual homes, and yet they continue to work. Tragically, we've recently learned that 5 of our colleagues at home have lost their lives. They've been killed in the conflict, and we honour them, their lives and their sacrifice. That's why we joined with the international community and the international human rights community to demand the following. 1. An immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza. It is the only way. 2. Full humanitarian access through all means possible to enable food supplies to the people of Gaza who are starving. 3. Reinstatement of funding by the Australian government to the UN agency supporting Palestinian people there, UNRWA. You would have heard this week that Canada, just yesterday, had announced that they are reinstating funding. Australia must immediately step in and do this too. And we demand adherence by Israel to the ICJ ruling delivered in January. And that ICJ ruling acknowledges that the killing of Palestinians must stop or it amounts to genocide. Last week, we joined up with aid organisations in Australia to poll Australians and what they think. This is what they said to us. 81% of Australians want a ceasefire. 54% of Australians want our government to do more to stop the war. And this was higher for young people. 61% of young people wanted that. 30% said this would affect their vote in the next election. This is a serious issue for many Australians, and the majority of Australians want this to stop, and we want our government to do more and step up. We urge you, in all your spheres of life, in work, at home, in your communities, to step up, to organise, to make sure that our opposition to war is communicated strongly to our government, to join all avenues of expressing your views in opposition to this war. Make no mistake, this is a war in Gaza, but it is a war across the region and has a threat to blow out into a global war. We have to take all steps now to stop war and stand for peace in every element of our life and all spheres. So I ask you to join me now to raise your voices in support of an urgent ceasefire. Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Thank you.
agree that the work that Union Aid Abroad-APHEDA is doing is so important right now, probably more important than ever. So we wish you well, and we work with you to bring about peace across the globe, because it is an issue for women, it is an issue for children, and it's our issue. So we definitely support ceasefire now. Now, our next speaker is a good friend of mine and a good friend to the movement, and Thompson, who is now working at the ACTU as the Workers' Capital Manager, and she's going to have a little bit of a chat to us about what's been happening in the last week or so around paid parental leave on super, but also touching on the WGEA report that we've seen, hopefully, and make Casey welcome. Thanks, Kate.
Thank you. Hello. I would first like to acknowledge the lands upon which we stand and which we marched, the Gadigal lands of the Eora Nation. I acknowledge that this land was stolen and never ceded. On days like this, I think it is important that we reflect on our history, on the women that have come before us, and on whose shoulders we stand today. On March 8th, 1908, more than 15,000 working women took to the streets in New York to demand better pay and to demand the right to vote. The next year, the first ever National Women's Day was held in New York. And then later that year, 20,000 women union members in New York went on strike for better pay and better conditions. Then in 1910, the Socialist International meeting in Denmark decreed that there shall be an international Working Women's Day of protest. And then a year later, in 1911, over 1 million women took to the streets in Austria, Denmark, Germany and Switzerland. This is the proud history that we carry on today. IWD is not about corporations. IWD is not about companies. IWD is about women taking to the streets, like we have done today, to demand our fundamental right to equality. And if we needed yet another reason as to why this remains necessary, we have seen data published recently of the gender pay gaps in Australia's biggest companies. Over 50% of these companies have a gender pay gap of at least 9.1%, and some of them have a gender pay gap of close to 40%. And we know that this is not because women choose lower paid jobs or because women don't have what it takes for the higher paid roles. We know this is because in 2024, our society still sees that there is women's work and there is men's work. And women's work is valued less, it is paid less, and women do not have the same opportunities as men to access these careers. And as women, we lose out while we're working due to the gender pay gap and due to pay inequality. We lose out when we take time out of the workforce to raise children because we don't receive super and parental leave. And we lose out in retirement because lower wages and more time out of the workforce means less super. Women in Australia currently retire with significantly less superannuation than men. And single older women are the fastest growing cohort of Australians experiencing homelessness. That is why it is so exciting that this week, after years of campaigning by union women, we have seen the announcement that super will now be paid on Commonwealth paid parental leave from July next year. This change will directly improve the retirement lives of 170,000 Australian women every single year. this would not have been possible without the hard-fought campaigns by union women. Women like Sarah, a retail worker who saw that her mum was struggling to get by in retirement on the pension with inadequate super, and therefore she committed herself to campaign to rectify this injustice. Women like Donna, a nurse, who has been going down to Parliament House in Canberra every single year telling politicians that they have to make this change. Women like Sam, a retail worker who got involved in the campaign for super unpaid parental leave because she wanted her daughter Kennedy to grow up in a better world than she lives in now. Super unpaid parental leave also would not have been won this week without the trailblazing union woman Linda White. Sadly, Linda recently passed away. As a leader of the Australian Services Union, who I see here today, Linda was instrumental in this win. She commissioned the report Not So Super for Women, which surveyed ACTU members and the impact that not receiving super unpaid parental leave had on their lives, and were one of the first to champion this policy. We remember Linda today, we pay tribute to her, and we thank her for the work that she did for working women across this country. While we celebrate the win of superannuation on Commonwealth paid parental leave and the women who sacrificed so much to realise it, we also recommit ourselves to rectifying the remaining injustices that we still experience as women every day in the workforce. We know that women earn less than men. Women's contribution in the workforce is valued less than men. Women are excluded from certain roles and certain types of work. Many women don't feel safe at work. Many women don't receive equal pay for equal work. And there are structural barriers and cultural barriers that prevent women from having the same opportunities as men to choose the industry and to choose the role that they'd like to work in. Therefore, I encourage everyone here today who is not yet one to become a member of your union. We cannot achieve gender inequality and financial inequality whilst we are unequal in the workplace. And we cannot become equal in the workplace if we attempt to go it alone. As we see today, we are stronger and more powerful when we come together. And strong unions need strong women. Gender equality is fundamental union business. They like to say that a woman's place is in the home or in the kitchen. I believe that a woman's place is on the streets and in the squares and in her union. So let's go out, let's continue to change the world, and let's start with our workplaces.
Place is definitely in her union, so if you're not already a member of the union, please join with us to achieve equality for women, and many of us know how important that is, and we've worked in workplaces and seen inequality occur. And that report that we've seen this week around the wage gap, as Casey spoke about, really brings to the forefront how valued or undervalued women's work is, and that we've got to change that. And that's why we're here today. So thank you. Now, can I also just ask, is Kimmy Gibbon here? There's Kimmy. So we'll get Kimmy up on the stage, and she's going to talk, give us a quick chat about the housing stability in colleges and the importance of activism in women's places. So thanks, Kimmy.
Hi everyone, my name is Kimmy and I'm here today from the Feminist Liberation Collective, which is a radical feminist collective of predominantly student feminist organisers. Before I begin today, I'd like to acknowledge that we're here on stolen Gadigal land. This land was never ceded, and it always was and always will be Aboriginal land. The Feminist Liberation Collective fights for decolonisation and police and prison abolition, as these are deeply feminist pursuits. There is no feminist liberation until this colony falls. There is no feminist liberation until every bastard cop resigns and every prison is burned to the ground. From Gadigal to Gaza, feminist liberation means abolishing equality. Standing here with all of you today is what International Working Women's Day is all about. Collective resistance and collective organising. While politicians and CEOs hand out their cupcakes and free tampons today, the women of Gaza are having C-sections without anaesthetic. They are using tent scraps as pads. They are making bread out of ground animal feed because Israel is blocking food shipments, of which Australia refuses to even send. Shame. Feminist liberation means a free Palestine and a global intifada. The FLC demands a permanent ceasefire on this International Women's Day, and for the Australian Labor Party to push Albanese to cut all ties with Israel and its genocidal regime that is happening right now. As I mentioned before, I'm from the Feminist Liberation Collective. I'm also a student and a renter. As I'm sure we all know, we're in a housing crisis that is hitting renters incredibly hard. Less mentioned, however, is how this crisis affects women. The housing crisis is a feminist issue for FLC. Women over 50 are the fastest growing group to experience homelessness. Domestic violence rates are so high and survivors need accessible housing to escape dangerous homes. Sex workers are without protection from housing discrimination for their jobs, which disproportionately affects trans women. And university campuses are failing to address both its rape crisis and its affordable student housing crisis, of which these issues intersect. This week, our collective launched our campaign against the Sydney University residential colleges. This has been a feminist fight for decades of students, and one I have been a part of for 5 years. Using stolen Gadigal land on a public university, these residential colleges rake in huge profits. The university chooses to be a greedy sellout, negligent of the actual needs of its students. Students need affordable housing close to their education and need a campus free of sexual violence and rape culture. This cannot happen while those colleges stand. For students, there is no accessible housing option. Privatised student accommodation rooms begin at $500 a week. Share houses in the surrounding areas like Newtown and Redfern have 50 applicants at every inspection, and needs-based housing have long wait lists. And still, the colleges continue to house only the elite by charging $20,000 to $30,000 a year in rent, bolstering social capital to the already privileged and turning a blind eye to the fact that these colleges breed rapists and Liberal Party staffers. This public university, the University of Sydney, has the option to house and provide safety for its students, and it refuses. Instead, like always, USyd cares more about its revenue and about its reputation. Shame. But what reputation is that? Let's go into some of the things that have happened in the USyd residential colleges that actually make up their reputation. Just a warning, this is really distressing. Each year, it's known by sexual violence support teams that incidents will spike during Welcome Week and that college students are 66 more likely than other students to be sexually assaulted. Senior male students have been exposed, publicly ranking first-year students according to their sexual prowess and inviting them to events called the Bait Cruise or the Bone Room. Male students have been caught chanting "No means yes" at a female student walking alone at night. In 2009, Sydney Morning Herald exposed a Facebook page of St Paul's students called Define Statutory, Pro-Rape Anti-Consent. In 2012, 33 students were suspended from St John's after a student was hospitalised after being forced to drink a concoction of alcohol, shampoo and sour milk as a hazing practice. In 2016, student Stuart Kelly died by suicide after horrible hazing rituals. His parents cited this as a significant reason for his death. Last year, a student's ear was allegedly bitten off at St Paul's College. In 1977, 18-year-old student Annette Morgan was found dead on St Paul's College. She was raped and her cause of death was strangulation and a fractured skull. These external reports, expose articles, testimonies and hushed whispers between survivors could fill books. But in reality, one assault on a college campus is too many. One fucking death on a college campus should be too many. I refuse to let these testimonies of these survivors be for nothing. Sydney University thinks it could wash its hands of accountability by implementing weak reforms like the University Accords process. But we in the campaign know that these stories from survivors have come out every year from the 70s to last year to now, and they've never been taken seriously as they should be. Changes in the colleges are incremental and students are being assaulted in the meantime. Rape culture is embedded in the fibre of the colleges. These colleges have been private school boys who become college rapists, who become white-collar rapists. Reform has not worked and will never work, because you cannot fix an institution that is sexist, elitist and racist to its fucking core. When we abolish the colleges, campuses get safer. Less students have to drop their degrees because they've experienced sexual violence. We stop the rape culture breeding ground at its core, and working class students get a real opportunity to live on their own campus. Today, the Feminist Liberation Collective demands that we abolish the use of colleges. We demand safe and affordable public housing for students. We heard the disgusting history of the colleges here today or anywhere else. Join FLC on our social media and look out for the New South Wales Greens Bill coming soon to put this to Parliament. Before I go, I'd also like to mention FLC's support of Sex Worker Action Collective's fight to get sex work on the Anti-Discrimination Act. When we talk about working women, we can't forget about the oldest trade there is, sex work. Discrimination for housing, as well as bank loans and civilian jobs, workers in the sex work industry have no legal backing to the discrimination that they face. And the FLC fully support and endorse the Sex Work on the Anti-Discrimination Act and believe that sex work is work and feminist liberation includes sex workers. Thank you, and long live the Intifada.
Thanks so much, Kimmy, and raising awareness about what we know is happening in colleges, but some of those stories I don't think even many of us knew about. Pretty devastating, pretty awful, and happy to work with Usage Women's Collective to demand that changes. So thank you, and we've come to the end of our speaking list, so we're going to finish early today, everyone will be happy to know. But really just want to touch on a couple of things and a couple of thank yous before we close up. So my first thank you is to the International Women's Day Committee, and I really appreciate the ongoing support, the challenges that we continuously face, and we have got here today, we have made our voices heard. So thank you to the International Women's Day Committee for being there, supporting this event ongoing. Also, just another shout out to the sponsors, to Unity Bank, to Australian Super, to Aware Super, to Hall Payne Lawyers. Thank you for your support for making this event happen, and the work that you do to support women throughout the year is absolutely imperative and achieves things like super on paid parental leave. So thank you for the work that you're doing. We also need to shout out to thank you the police and really appreciate the assistance in getting us around the block safely today and working with us on that. Really appreciate that. We also just want to big shout out to all of our speakers. Thank you all speakers. Such important issues for us to all address. I think we've covered off on most issues. If there isn't one, please shout out. Because there is many issues to achieve equality. We aren't there yet, and we do need to make sure that we continually campaign for equality for women and for those girls that are coming up through the generations need us to stand up to make sure that equality is a thing of the future. We know what's happening around the world is absolutely devastating, and shout out to all of those organisations that are helping to bring about peace. In particular, thank you to APHEDA, our Global Justice Network, and if you're not a member of APHEDA already, please join APHEDA. Kate didn't say that today, which is unusual for her, but if you're not already a member of Union Aid Abroad, please join.
because it is our global arm and it does such important work across the globe. So on that note, I really just want to say thank you and happy International Women's Day. I hope you're all going off somewhere to have a lovely lunch or something, and look forward to seeing you throughout the year as we continue to campaign for equality for women. Thank you all, and happy IW Day.